It's just money. It's made up. Pieces of paper with pictures on it so we don't have to kill each other just to get something to eat. It's not wrong, and it's certainly no different today than it's ever been. 1901, 07, 29, 1937, 1974, 1987, Jesus, 92, 97, 2000, and whatever we want to call this. It's all just the same thing over and over. We can't help ourselves. We just react. And we make a lot of money if we get it right.
Welcome to Market Makers, everybody. Your home for tomorrow's TA today. Often imitated, never replicated. Guys, I think we are heading into the Reagan cycle. This is what you're seeing on my screen right now. We're going to go over this because the title of the video is where to buy. Okay, we're going up to a major top for a major retracement in the S&P, somewhere minus 17 to 27%. And then I think we're bottoming. I don't think the market's done. And I think we're going up to big blue sky territory, 7,500 on the S&P. But let's talk about the Reagan cycle really quickly. What is the Reagan cycle? Ronald Reagan came in the early 80s after a decade of stagflation in the 1970s. And what did Reagan do? Reagan cut taxes as Paul Volcker came in and jacked up the interest rates to battle the inflation, the stagflation that plagued the economy for a decade. And what happened? A major economic boom. So much of a boom, in fact, Ronald Reagan won a landslide of 49 states for re-election. So he had the first couple years of his presidency with the recession that came in, with the interest rate hike, and then all of the benefits that he put into the economy, the tax cuts, the deregulation kicked in, won a major re-election victory. Now, Trump can't run for re-election, right? But he's hoping the legacy lives on, whether it's through his VP or another candidate, and that's the exact playbook they're doing. What is Trump doing? He wants to extend his tax cuts. He is massively deregulating. He's looking to explore and create new forms of energy to lower the cost of energy. It's all about economic growth. That's what he's focusing on. But because of that, and because we're in the most overvalued market in stock market history, we're going up to a major top and a major drop. I'm going to show you this on Bitcoin, the S&P, the NASDAQ, everything we've been talking about. If you've been following along in these videos, this is going to be an awesome red meat trading opportunity at the top here, and then an awesome buying opportunity at the bottom of the retracement. Okay, let's go ahead and start off here. Let's look at the fear and greed on CNN. We're back in fear, guys. And when you break this down by the indicators, extreme fear for market momentum, stock price strength, extreme fear, stock price breadth, fear. The only thing in greed is put and call options. The market's not being fooled. The market participants, like I keep telling you guys, we're going up. We're not done going up yet for this top. So that's what we're going to look at here on the charts. You know what, Lee? Let's go ahead and get into the charts right now. All right, guys, I want to start off on the VIXX. And if you want to trade these markets, be sure to check out our sponsors, SimpleFX, as well as Bitunix. Get our exclusive Market Makers bonuses with those links. I'll pin them in the YouTube comments. They're also in the video description. The VIXX. Everybody's making a big deal about the VIXX popping at 17.68 right now. This is still rally territory, guys. You're in volatility, you're in chop, you have money rotating in different sectors of the market. Moving forward, you have to convince me, here's the M2 money supply, for the market to crash, like a lot of people are talking about on YouTube, for the market to crash, you need the M2 to be going down. Look, the M2 bottomed in 2022. It's done nothing but go up since then. And we may take out the top here at 21.72 trillion. We're at 21.53 trillion, or we may just make a lower high for this incoming late March top. Okay, so let's go to move forward and look at this. When we're looking at this, guys, here's the chart I was talking about. This is a three-way fractal. This is what's so interesting to me, watching these guys who do Elliott wave, do these mental gymnastics, these mental contortions to talk about where the waves are, right? And where are they all starting from? They're all starting from the 2022 bottom. And they're like, oh, I have wave 1, wave 2, this is 3, 4, extended 5, different ways to count this, you guys. You know, I have 5 different wave counts for this. Look, the correct way to look at this, again, is what happened here with the pandemic. The pandemic was a 36% drawdown here on S&P futures, 36%. And then what happened on the way back up? A 120% gain in less than 2 years. You 6x'd the normal 2-year return, and then you dropped another 27%. They're ignoring all of this, right? And they're all trying to count from 2022 low to find 5 waves up. Look, Gann wrote about this over 100 years ago. The key to the market was this one pattern, which he hid in his book, and it had to be decoded, which is a 3-wave move, a law of 3 pattern, the Gann market pattern. This is just simply an ABC. But what happens up here at the top, guys, when we get to our target of 6,300 to 6,450, what happens? You get the retracement. Is that the market? I personally don't think it is. We move forward here. If you want to look at this like a 5-wave fractal, this is your wave 1 off the pandemic low. Pandemic low came up to your January 2022 top. Here's your first retracement. So you have wave 1, wave 2. This is all wave 3. You're still in wave 3. Coming up to 6,300, 6,450, and then you're going to get this big retracement we've been talking about, guys. Last week, I showed you this going down as much as 30%. Just to come down to the 36% retracement, we're looking at a 17% retracement, over 1,000 S&P points. And look, if we come down to, say, a 50% retracement, a 50% retracement is a 25% move and lines you up beautifully with your January 2022 high. And of course, you have the high just beneath that. 4,600, 4,800 to 4,600 gives you that 25 to 28% retracement, which does what? Gives you a 1-to-1 Enzonami signal wave with the exact same retracement you did in 2022 down to the bottom here in 2022. When did that bottom happen, by the way, guys? Fall equinox, right? This is what I think is happening. This is a 5-wave fractal. There's 3-wave fractals, 5-wave fractals. If you guys want to check out our Discord, next week I will be teaching the correct way with fractal pattern trading to use Fibonacci and market geometry to trade 3-wave and 5-wave fractals. Your first week is free. Highly suggest you check it out. I think you'll really enjoy it. So again, when we're looking at this, this is the move we're expecting. This is a trade I want to take up here at this level. We're going to zoom in. Why? Because I'm looking for a big drop of at least 16, 17% down to 25, 28%. And then it's all going to come back to the wave back up. Do we make a lower high? Top out? If we did, that's the market. And if that's the market, then the 3-wave fractal was the top of the market. If it's not the market and you come back up for blue skies, I think we're coming up to 7,500. The actual number is 7,442. Okay, I'm just going to round it up to 7,500. Remember, we have a lot of cycles coming in here this month coming up, right? We have the lunar precession cycle, the 18.6-year cycle. When does that hit? It hits in March. We have the total lunar eclipse coming March 14th. We have the spring equinox March 21st, followed by March 22nd with the lunar precession cycle. Lots of major pivots are occurring in March, and I do believe that's going to put our top in for us. And of course, because the S&P is the largest market in the world, it will affect every other market, including crypto. Let's move forward. Zoomed in here, you can see here's our lunar cycle pivots up here. Here's our kill box we want to get to, 63.22, 64.64. Again, I'm just rounding it to 6,300, 64.50. And what are we doing? Where is the place to buy? That's the title of the video. The place to buy when we look at this, remember, January 13th, guys, if you've been watching these videos, lots of people are talking about how, hey, I was calling a bottom. It was going to happen in January. We gave you the exact day, the exact bar based on a cycle pivot was January 13th, okay? So we came down to the 36% retracement. Where could you buy? If you hold this level of support here, you're going to start moving back up. When? Thursday the 27th. Thursday the 27th is the next pivot. So you view it by Thursday, Friday, maybe the following week, next week is your green week. So if you get more weakness down here, if you do break down a little bit more, watch 59.73 or see if you hold 6,037, right? But 59.73, as long as you stay above these pivot lows here of down here at 59.35 all the way down to 58.09. If you stay above these pivot lows, guys, what are you doing? Same thing Bitcoin's doing. You're just going in a range, right? You're at the upper end of the range right now. You can come all the way back down towards 58.09, and these are potentially buying opportunities to get into the market for the things that you want to be in, whether it's the index itself or look at what particular stocks are doing. What does this mean for the SPY? For the SPY, I'm looking at 642. Again, our target from the three-wave fractal, okay? 642 is what I'm looking at. The pivot low you have to hold is 575. You're at 599. So if you get declination in the SPY down to 590, below 590, watch that corridor down there because it could be a potential nice buying opportunity for you. Let's go ahead and look at the NASDAQ futures. Again, three-wave fractal. We're looking at 23,053 for the price. Right now, the price is 21,793. And of course, I have this going up to 24,200 potentially on the NASDAQ. NASDAQ's been getting beat up. The Dow got beat up. But these are the targets, guys. We haven't hit the primary target on the three-wave fractal yet. Getting close. So we're going to see what's going to happen here. And when we look at this, again, on a five-wave view, remember the NASDAQ sells off and it rallies harder than the S&P, right? So a 50% retracement on the NASDAQ, once we come up to our level up here of 23,053 to 24,200, we come up to our target level, enter that kill box. This retracement down, this is a 7,000 point drop to 16,344, okay? That's a 30% drop. What did you do in the previous retracement? 37%. What did you do in the pandemic? 32%. So it's not out of the ordinary. Again, the most overvalued market in stock market history. Massive trade. Not only that, massive long opportunity, because if this five-wave fractal plays out and we're doing this Reagan cycle, then I'm looking at the targets here vis-a-vis Fibonacci and market geometry at 26,906, which is almost 27,000. Now, just real quick on the dates here. Obviously, we have no idea how fast this drop would occur. I went ahead and put the dates out here for October 2nd of this year for the bottom on the S&P and the NASDAQ, as well as the top target on wave 5 going out to April 5th, 2027. There's some math in this, how I calculated this, but again, this is a forecast. This can easily change depending how quickly you drop, how long you bottom, and how quickly you come back up, right? It's all dependent on when you come back up. Do you make a lower high or do you proceed to blue sky territory? Are we trading the three-wave or the five-wave? The trade is the same. Trade the top, watch the drop. If we get our targets, then we long at the base. Huge swing trades you're only going to get on this channel. Let's go ahead and look at this zoomed in. Looking at the NASDAQ 100 zoomed in. Again, here's the targets, 23,233 from this W pattern. Again, up to 24,200, okay? And look what you're doing. You're just coiling. You're building energy. You're in a fractal corridor making higher lows, looking for that spring out, okay? So pay attention to that because this Thursday coming up the 27th, is the lunar pivot. That could be a sign of the low in the market. Volatility till Thursday, Friday, finish out the week. Next week, let's see if we start moving up next week, okay? Let's look at the Qs. What's those targets? 559 is the lower level target. 603 is that higher level target here on the Qs. Same concept, three-way fractal, which could eventually come into a five-way fractal. Let's check out the international markets to see the targets we're looking at. Euro Stoxx 50. Finally taking a breather at 55.17. I'm looking for 57.59 on the Euro Stoxx 50 right up here. So we could have some volatility, chop around, go sideways for however long we have to go in the European markets, and then move up to that 57.59. That's the area you want to look at for a move back down, okay, to sell off. What about the DAX? Germany just had its elections. They will have a new chancellor. Thank God. Half my family's still in Germany. But look at the DAX. The European markets have outperformed the U.S. markets this year. So when you look at the DAX, we're at 22,956 is what we hit. We retraced 22,575. We broke up above our long-term trend line. Major move in the DAX, 108% off the 2022 low. I'm looking for 24,622. Basically another 2,000 points northward, looking for that late March, mid-March to late March peak in the U.S. markets. So the European markets sometimes peak a little bit before or a little bit after. So you want to watch this, but that's the target. Remember, price and time is important here. Let's go ahead and look at the Hang Seng. This is the Chinese market. Once again, a lot of excitement about this market. You just came up to the 50% retracement all the way over from February 17th, 2021 high. This nice little spike rally up. What was this, 10-15%? Let's take a look at this real quick and measure it. This was a nice little move. This came up right about 26-27%. So that's a nice move up. I think you're going to get hung up here in this area. You're probably going to back and fill a little bit, maybe come back down. Let's go ahead and measure this in case anybody's interested in trading the Hang Seng. All of this can be traded on SimpleFX, by the way, guys. Go ahead and measure this. If we come down to 21K, that's a 50% retracement. If you get that drop back down to 21, you're at 23.3. Do a shallow retracement, you're coming down to 22K. But watch that because you're at a key area. They're a big, strong push up. You'll see if you start hitting your head some right up in that area. What about the Swiss 20, the SMI? We never talk about the Swiss 20, but this is up 15-18% since December, and we're coming right up against a key fib, 12,964. This is the SMI. This is the top 20 stocks in Switzerland, and we're right at 12,864. The market's not quite open. I'm recording this Sunday night, so it'll be open in an hour or two. So we'll see if this starts topping out in this range and comes back for a retracement. Where will it come for that retracement? Let's go ahead and measure this, guys. Let's go and look at this. 12,325, 12,000. Again, if this is a potentially nice trade, if it holds this level, you're looking at a 615-point drop to the 36% retracement. And of course, a 925% drop, 7% if you're to retrace half of this massive pump that you've done since December. So just key things to look at, always looking at the next trades in the market. What about Bitcoin? Is anybody else showing you this pattern? We've had this, as subs know, for months and months and months. 3 peaks, peak 1, peak 2, peak 3, and a domed house. We are building the domed house. We're going to zoom in on this pattern as well. We hit our key target, first level, 109. Hit it right there. Next levels up are 120 and 132 to be specific. I'm calling it 120 to 130, but 132 to be specific. And that's going to give you your roof here for wave 3. Then you'll sell back off, come back up, and then sell back off with the markets, right? So what would that retracement be, by the way? If the markets do this retracement, people want to know, what would the Bitcoin retracement be? I'll have to go ahead and do a 5-wave pattern here for Bitcoin as well, a fractal pattern, but let's just look at it from this perspective. Here's our accumulation. Remember, I told everybody this was accumulation when everybody thought the market was falling apart. It was a flagging accumulation pattern for a breakout, right? Our diamond pattern breakout I shared last year on YouTube, October 2023, with the actual trade setup for a nice 130% gain in Bitcoin. But this was nothing more than an accumulation pattern, but this is where you want to pull your fib from. Pull it from this accumulation low right here, August 4th. This is a 3-day chart, all-time high, right? Put it up to your all-time high. Right? Actually, since we're going to go higher in my book anyways, let's look at this from 120 and we'll look at it from 130. Okay, so 120K on Bitcoin. If the markets rise, and I believe Bitcoin's going to get this move, guys, I'll show you on the daily chart. Markets rise, markets top, markets fall. What's Bitcoin going to do? If it gets to 120, let's just measure this. If it gets to 120, I think it's coming down to 68.9. So basically 69K, 42% drop. This will wreck all the baggies. Who are the baggies? The holders, the people that have been buying the tops, right? They bought the top up here in this chop. They're going to get this move, and then they're going to get wrecked on the selling. And when are they going to sell, by the way? They're going to sell down here. And then what's the market going to do? This. It's going to go right back up again, right? So that's down to 68.9, so 69K if we get to 120. Again, this is vis-a-vis Fibonacci here. We're looking at this. And if this comes to 132, let's go ahead and measure this. If we come up to 132 for this blow off here before this big retracement, we'll measure from 132. Now we're coming back down to the 72% retracement. Once again, 45% drop. The price is actually 72,186. So 69 to 72K is where Bitcoin's headed on the retracement. And that is a 59,000 point drop. Huge drop, guys. As many of you know, my retirement trade that I shared on Bitcoin over here in the topping pattern was right here. Not even at the exact top. It was over here when Bitcoin was at 48K. I shared this trade and Bitcoin fell almost 70% down to 15.5. Remember, my prediction was 10.5. We got to 15.5. That's what I called my retirement trade because at that point I felt secure that I wasn't going back to work again at Merrill Lynch. So again, massive trade, guys. If we come up to 120, 130, looking at 69 to 72 for a landing zone, and we're looking at a massive trade down up to 59,000. Let's just call it 60,000 points. Then it's going to be about basing and what are those markets doing? Are they coming back up for a lower high and then failing? Or are they putting in a base and working their way back up? This is going to be an exciting market cycle to trade, guys. I love this. Let's look at Bitcoin here on the daily. I spent a lot of time on a live stream last week in the Discord, guys, talking about our customized Bollinger Bands here. And the thing to understand about Bollinger Bands, if any of you read John Bollinger's book, when you get this contraction, look at the contraction here. By the way, look at this. The trend line that I drew in here, it's sitting right on it. You get this contraction, you're going to get an expansion, and that expansion is going to go up or it's going to go down for price, okay? This is all coiling, all this movement where you're getting these people that upload daily videos talking about, oh, we're going to 250K or, oh my God, we're going to 5K, right? This is all range trading in Bitcoin, and I believe this pivot is coming to the upside. Here's your 27th pivot. Let's see what happens on the 27th. Again, that's a Thursday, so maybe we finish out this week still going sideways, but I think the following week leading up to the 14th of March, the total lunar eclipse, I think you're going to be going up, guys. I think that's the bias is to go up to your targets. And I'm really looking at that 120 to 132 here on the daily time frame, pulling it from this trading range. You're looking at 120 to 127, but 120 to 132 is the range I'm looking at for Bitcoin to get to and then top and give us a major drop as well. So where would you buy Bitcoin? Look, I've been saying on the Discord, I've said here on YouTube, if you hold 92K, this white trend line, if you continue to hold this, all of these fractal pivot lows down here, these are all buying opportunities on Bitcoin. So if we do get some more pressure in the next day or two, Bitcoin coming down here, none of this is financial advice. Do your own due diligence, manage your own risk level. But any of these any of these moves down, when you get these scam wicks down, 93, 92, 94, looking at these wicks, these are all potential buying opportunities. If you think, as I do, that there were higher prices ahead, I look at this contraction, guys. Look how tight this is getting. When it's expanded like this, the band, that's when price is moving up or down. When it's contracted, it's about to make a big move. Let's click through a couple extra cryptos here. Ethereum, second largest crypto, bouncing right off the trend line, about to try to break out of our fractal corridor here. 28.48 is what you want to get above. Some good levels to get to. 35.44, and of course, if you can get back up here to the 4,000 region, you're challenging the highs. Obviously, this is going to depend heavily on what Bitcoin does, which is going to depend heavily on what the markets do. But the low that you want to hold here is 25.19 on Ethereum. You get that big down wick here to 2,000 or 2,100. But this happens a lot in crypto because of the amount of money getting pulled out, right? Getting sucked out, then it reflexes, rebounds, and starts a tighter range. So I'm looking at this tighter range here. Break above 28.50, have some higher prices ahead, stay above 2,500. You start breaking below 2,500, you got some lower prices and something happened in the market, right? Something scared the market, and chances are at that point, equities took out their pivot lows. Let's look at Solana. Solana has been getting punished. It's at 159. So you've made a new all-time high in Solana, way up there, right? You made it up there at 300 here. No, that's not the high, is it? Yeah, it is. $300 here in Solana. Came back down. You're at 158, 159. But look where you are when you look at this, even without FIPS, just from a fractal perspective. This is that area, right, where there's potentially some good buys in here. So anything here in Solana, 140 and up here, 140, 150. Look at this range. See if Solana keeps dropping or not into this range, right? We're taking out that fib right there. So let's see where Solana gets to, because I'd be patient on this one because it's actively dropping. Ethereum's holding its range. Solana's dipping down below. Now, again, this could just pop right back up, right? We'll see how it plays out, but got some selling pressure there in Solana. Let's look at Litecoin real quick, because this has been requested a couple times. Again, this is a nice trading range. Look at your fractal corridor you've made here. You got your pivot lows, right? Coming out of the range, they get bought up. Pivot low, pivot low, pivot low. So the range you want to hold is $96 and your high is 136. Right now you're at 124. Meaning if you do start breaking down, but Bitcoin is still holding above 92K, you can look at these as potential areas you may consider accumulating down in that 100, 105 range, down here at this lower level here in Litecoin. But again, you need Bitcoin to hold above 92. You need the markets to hold their pivot lows that we just covered as well. Okay, so just consider that when you're looking at everything. Let's go ahead and finish this off with gold, one of our favorite commodities here. So gold, guys, we hit our target that we've been discussing. 29.47, got some wicks above it. We had a big rally up. What is this? A 15% rally up off this breakout low here up to your high, 14.36%. So we had a big rally up. Let's check out the indicators. You got some divergences happening here on gold. Look at this, lower highs across the MFI. You're still bullish territory, but you got lower highs as price was doing what? Making higher highs. Look at your ADX. Your DMIs are wearing down here for your buying pressure. So that crossed the zero line. Look at your momentum indicators, whether you're using MACD or PPO like I like to use. So everything's fading here in gold, and you're getting some small body candles up here at the top as well. When you look at gold up here, 8-hour time frame. So you really want to watch that 29.50. I wanted to see this get up to my higher level target here of 3,043. Again, psychological confirmation, right? Getting above 3,000. So this is an area you may end up topping right here. You may go up a little bit more, but gold's set for a nice retrace. And where would that retrace come down to? I think, look, if you retrace from where you are right now, you're looking at, I think, gold coming down $200 down to 27.50 for a nice retrace. If it was a deeper retrace, then you're looking at gold coming down $268 for a 9% move down to 26.87. So watch gold, because this may end up being a nice short trade for a back end fill to come back down, right? Work off some of this big pump breakout that it did from the triangle. Guys, give me a follow, Market Canary on X. Like and subscribe to the channel. I answer your comments as always. I hope to see you in the Discord. Go to marketmakers.trade. Consider trying out for your free week because that's going to be fun next week when we get into these 3- and 5-way fractals. Talk to you guys soon.